and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of JC Live. I'm your host, Dwayne Dunleavy, and I am so excited to be here because today I'm talking about something that I think can really help you guys. So, as you know, or maybe you don't know, maybe this is the first time you're ever tuning in. John Casablancas is one of the leading and entertainment and modeling instruction companies in the country, and I have worked for them for 15 years. In that 15 years, I have seen people do amazing things, come out of their shells, start careers both in acting and modeling, go on to be in movies, commercials, what have you. All of those people have one thing in common. They treated this like it was a business and not just some dream that they allowed to, kind of fall into place. Now, does that happen to some people? Of course, there are some people that definitely just fall into the business and end up becoming extremely successful because of it. But if you are a person who is a realist and who understands that getting into this business is going to require some thought and some strategic planning on your part. Now, whatever it is you get into, whether it is, acting, modeling, being a social influencer, whatever it is, you at some point are going to have to think about branding. Now, branding is actually a dirty word in this business because if you ask any of the people working in the industry, and you can see some amazing interviews out there and articles by experts in the industry of entertainment, modeling, and acting. If you ask them, how do you brand yourself? They're going to say, oh, don't even say the word branding because with an actor, the requirement is not to have the right colors, the right this, the right that. It's all about showing who you really are. That's the best thing you can do. So your brand really needs to reflect who you are as an actor or a model. And an actor or a model, all you really are is a tool to either sell something or tell a story. So you're basically trying to tell the people that have the power, the producers, the casting directors, the directors, I can do what you need me to do in order to tell your story or sell your product. That's all you're really trying to do. And that's what your brand needs to definitely show. It needs to show that you are able to do something and that you have a point of view. And the more unique you are, the further you can go. We often straddle this line of being a little too unique and being open enough to play any role. But what it boils down to is you really need to figure out, how do people see me? How do the casting directors see me when I walk in a room? What's the energy that I give off? Because you can work with that. You can make it work for you. Oh, thank you for that message up there. I love it when I get messages on here and questions. By the way, if you have any questions, they will show up live. So feel free to write your messages on our live little thing over here. Now, I'm going to show you a few things that I thought might be helpful. So if you are somebody getting into the business and you're like, well, what do I do? How do I know what type of a brand that I should be reflecting? Well, the first thing need to do is a little bit of soul searching. You need to figure out, what is it that I want? And I'm always asking people at John Casablancas, what do you want to do? Do you want to be in a movie playing the lead character? Or do you want to be a supporting character? Do you want to be a background actor? Do you want to be a model? Once you find out the answer to that, because honestly, you need to think about it, because if you ask anybody just getting in the business, they just say, I'll just take anything that comes along. Doesn't really matter to me. I'll take anything. And that's fine. You probably will, but you need to set some sort of an intention. So in my case, I have been performing for over 25 years. I started out as a stand-up comic when I was 17. And since then, I've done musical shows, cabarets, comedy shows, one-man shows, group comedy shows, everything you can think of. I am known by people that hire me to be a host, a comedian, a singer, a writer, a producer. There's all types of different things that I do. Now, when you go to my social media, what you're going to see, for instance, on my fan page, this is what you see when you go to my fan page on Facebook. Okay. And I have the bridge from where I live, and a picture of myself that's a professional photo. And that's basically it. You can put me into any category with this. If you want me to host, I look like I can host. You want me to do comedy? I look like I can do comedy. You see what I mean? Now, that photo is being used on one of my upcoming comedy shows, flyers. That's what this is. This is showing people that on March 24th, there is a comedy show that I am part of. And you see that picture now matches that first picture that I showed you that's here on my fan page. So if you go from my show to my fan page, you say, oh, that's the same picture the guy used in his flyer. See how that works? Now, that's just a small example of branding because you really want to make sure that things are thought out. Don't just let it be the way that it is. What do I want to be? Rebecca says the question I still ask myself every day is, what do I want to be or do? And that's, you know what, that's a great comment, actually, Rebecca, because I always tell people this because they get nervous. When I say, what do you want to do? They think I'm saying whatever you say now has to be for the rest of time. But you know what? You can decide today you want to be a model and start going in that direction, and then decide you want to be an actor and go in that direction tomorrow. And then the next day, go back to being a model. All of that is up to you because this is your business. See, everybody thinks the agents are involved in making everything happen. Really, the agents are just the middleman. You are the one that makes it happen. And then the agent can know what you do and bring that to a casting director or a producer. But until you give them something to work with, there's really nothing you can do. Let's see. I want to show you a couple of other things because I think it's going to be helpful. So, um, now, if you go on and just Google branding for actors and models, this is the kind of thing that you're going to come up with. You're going to see actual models and actors that have brands behind them. They have websites. They have things that show who they are. Now, this is what you'll see if you hit branding for companies. And branding for companies has more to do with things like logos, color combinations. Okay. Now, look at the difference. Here, you're looking at an overall kind of spirit. Here, you're looking at very specific ideas and well planned out and thought out processes for making that brand psychologically work for you. Well, that's what we're doing in a sense. Now, if I go and I put all of my professional pictures on my social media page on Facebook, showing me as a football player, right? And all of my pictures look great, but it says football player. Now, a casting director, a producer, an agent, they may be looking for a football player for an upcoming film or an upcoming web video series. Who knows? But I'm going to have to wait till somebody sees that one specific facet of what I can do and decide that I should be in their thing. Now, if they see pictures of me as a football player, then they see pictures of me as a singer, then they see pictures of me as a comedian, they start to think this person is really diverse. They can do a lot of things. Now, let me show you. This is the picture you'll see of me on my website. If you go to my website, it's a picture of me actually performing with a sparkly jacket. Now, that branding is giving me that idea behind my brand. Like, you look at that and you say, I need a singer for a wedding, I need a singer for an event. You can look at that and feel like this guy can sing, even without even hearing me. Now, if you go further and look for videos, you can do that, of course. um, Here's another upcoming, or one that just passed in February. This was another poster for an upcoming show that I was hosting at a place nearby. And as you can see, it's still, and that is showing up still on my social media. Does that matter that it happened in February? No, because it shows that I did it and I was there, and that's part of what I do. So even you guys seeing this now live, these little pictures, are starting to put together an idea of what I can do entertainment wise, right? Now, if you look at my personal page on Facebook, you're going to see this. It's a picture of me more casual with the moon behind me because I do a lot of astrology and astrology readings. I even have a YouTube show that has astrology facts, tarot facts, readings, things like that. So that's another facet of what I do. These are all unique things. How many other people do you know that are doing stand up comedy, hosting, singing, and astrology? But what I've created now is this persona and this brand about myself. You right now listening to me can probably come up with in your mind, if you were doing an event and you said, we need a singer, a host, somebody to do an auction, what have you, you probably might think that that's what I do, and that is, you would be right. Now, I also do other things. I work with charities and organizations. This is something coming up where I host a bingo and I call out the numbers. That looks very different from the other things that I was doing. And in fact, it is. The actual um, doing of this is a little bit different. Yeah, I do a little comedy in between, might sing, and but I'm mostly calling numbers, and this is for a big bingo crowd, people who do bingo, and this is like 300, 400 people I'm talking. This is not like 20 people show up to this. It's huge. So just what I've shown you now, you could see that my brand encapsulates a lot of live theater, a lot of live performance. That doesn't make me better than someone that doesn't do live stuff, someone that's only on video, that only records and only does things like I'm doing right now. That just means that I do other things than that. And that person might be completely focused on just being on camera. That's totally fine. You can't really compare yourself to other people. I mean, unless you look at the people specifically in the business that you are actually working to get their roles. If you look at somebody right now on a show, Game of Thrones, Riverdale, what have you, and you see someone who's your age, it looks like same kind of like build, age, ability in acting, you can look at that person's career and see what they're doing to brand themselves because you're in that age group, you're in that look, you're in that group of people that might actually be called to be a part of that show. You see what I mean? A lot of people come into this business, especially young people, come in thinking because they see on social media that people get discovered and they become rich and famous and all of this, that that's the way that you get into this business. But this business, believe it or not, and it may seem a little bit, I don't know, boring or something, but you need to accept it that this business is about what you make it. You are your own little capsule of a business, and you're bringing yourself to those agents. You're bringing yourself to those casting directors, and you're saying, "This is what I want to be paid for." Okay. Now, I did a little photo shoot not long ago on one of these lives to show you how to do a capsule collection, and I want to just show you those photos again because what it shows is that you can literally set up in your home and take photos for your brand, for what you're trying to put out there and show it to make yourself even more professional. So these are photos I took in my home and actually added the backgrounds to in the end to make it look the way that I wanted with color and with brightness and all of these things. So you don't really have to rely on having a studio or the perfect lighting or anything anymore. It's 2023 and you can make these photos look great. These are all literally photos I took with a ring light, my phone on a tripod for phones, and that's it. I set it for 10 seconds and I allowed it to take my picture. I then edited it afterwards to make it exactly the way that I wanted it. So I have pictures that can show that I can give good energy in front of a camera. That's all we're trying to do. Okay. Pictures that you might want to put on your personal branded page or your professional branded page would be actually events that you perform in, that you actually take part in. So, for example, this is from years ago. I did this event for Valentine's Day at this big event place. There's about 150 people. These were two people I brought up to the stage, and I was talking to them and singing, and they had a great time. That's a great thing to have on a professional page. This is a recent show I just did with some comedians. That is a great way to prove that what I'm saying, that I do comedy, I do host, I do shows, this is proof basically, and that's what you're putting on your pages. The reason I even brought up this subject today is because a lot of you out there, and I'm not just talking about JC students, I'm talking about public in general, people who are trying to get into the entertainment business. I see how they've branded themselves and or haven't even thought about branding themselves and it's all over the place. So that's why I thought it was so important that we kind of get on this subject. And even if you're not a student at JC and you're trying to get into the business, this will help you. We at JC are not trying by any means to say that we are the only way that you can get into the business. Everybody can get out of their house right now and find out where there's open calls and try to get headshots and do all of that. It's all out there. All you have to do is Google it. What we do is we help to consolidate all of that stuff. We've already done all the research. We've already done all of the sourcing for how you do everything involved in this industry. And we just give it to you in a much quicker, easier, more condensed way. But either way, whether someone is instructing you at JC or you're doing it on your own, you need to think about your brand. Okay. Now, I showed you my Facebook, both my professional and my personal. What I want to show you too is something that I recently did, and my coworkers know that what I do other than acting. But long story short, I started a company recently, a perfume company, believe it or not, and I had to do branding on that as well. And when I was thinking about the brand for my perfume, I was thinking, wow, this is interesting because my perfume brand is now going to be part of my professional brand personally. It's also going to be part of my personal brand, and it has to have its own brand. So imagine how hard that could be. But I knew I wanted it to be clean, modern, interesting. So I want to show you what I came up with. This is one of the ads that I did for my three fragrances. They are named after the birthdays of my mother, my sister, and myself. And it has a description at the bottom of what they are. It dawned on me that this branding is basically giving all the information for the product. That's what we do here too. If you're putting your photos out on your professional page, whether they are professional photos or photos of events that you do, what have you, you are basically saying, this is what the product is. This is what I do. This is what is available to you if you pay me money to be a part of your production. Okay. Let's see. We have actually someone else said something. Oh, thanks, Pika. You're the best. She's a Taurus. They're always so much fun. Impressive home photo shoot. Oh, thank you, Rebecca. Soft backgrounds and those soft cutout look perfectly. Thank you so much. Yeah, I realized maybe 10 years ago as technology started to get better and better that wow, what's happening is we are all being given the opportunity to be an entire entertainment studio from our living rooms. 20 years ago, people may have thought that this could be possible in some way or another, but they probably never thought it would be so accessible as it is to all of us now. All of you who want to get into this business of entertainment, of making people happy, of changing people's lives by moving them through acting, modeling, singing, what have you, you need to think of yourself as a complete package, as a complete business. That business can then be noticed by other businesses, such as agents and directors and casting directors, so that you can then market yourself and get yourself out there. So I hope that this gave you some kind of understanding of why it's even important to brand yourself. But one thing I want to do is to give you something that you can look at after this. And I really don't know a better way to do this than to add it into a type of a caption here on the screen for you to take it and look at it if you want to. So I'm going to put it on here for you guys. It's a link, and the link is for a popular publication. You don't have to pay to get this particular article, and that's why I thought it was great for everybody. You can look at this article, and what it is 15, is it? How many? I think it was 10 or 15 entertainment professionals, producers, agents, casting directors, and they were all asked the same thing. How do you brand yourself as an actor or a model? And you are going to find the answers to that so interesting and so helpful that I had to share it with you. So basically, that is you can't click on it, unfortunately. We don't yet have that technology to be able to just pop it up and allow you to click it. But I will also put it into the description on the recording of this live. So thank you so much for watching. Now, keep in mind, this one was more of an educational. Next one is going to be really fun because what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to touch on everybody's astrological sign, and we're going to talk about what those astrological signs tend to uh, feel or do in the entertainment industry, or how you might want to make changes and do new things to get into the industry or make yourself really happy once in it. So check that out for you astrology lovers. That'll be next time. That is on Thursday, March 23rd at 2 p.m. And I will see you guys then. Thanks again so much for watching, and see you next time.